People who are stopped at a red light for 1 minute but creep forward a few feet every 10 seconds. Why? To wait faster. Fucking hell, that's a great answers. Lol. The only right answer. This is the correct answer, lol. Hurry up and wait. Skartet is 10 hours ago. Thread 44 reply share report Savanor replies. The radio station I like is 60 miles away. Sometimes when I stop it is stuck on static. I have to creep forward to find it again. Legit the only reason I'll creep. And I still hate doing that. Or some big-ass dump truck has stopped besides me and fucked the radio signal, so I have to creep to find it. I take that back. I'll also creep to stay in the shadow of a big-ass truck so the sun doesn't shine on my eyes. Whoa, an actual reason. During my morning commute there's a single intersection that does this to me. Single intersection that does the I have 3 stations I flip through, all based in my city, and all of them get staticky at that intersection. So I creep a bit, flip through to check each station, creep, check, repeat. I hit that spot early enough that there aren't many other cars on the road yet, so it has zero impact on anyone else. And thankfully I take a different route home due to the maze of one-way streets here. I creep for this reason too. Been there, done that. Even put it in reverse, no one behind me, to find the right spot. Flurpsert 9 hours ago. Let me guess your favorite song on the radio. Creep 43 reply share report Savanor replies. It is like pressing the button harder for a more powerful attack. Yeah, but that is how you get more powerful attack, isn't it? The PS3 had analog face buttons, so that was actually a thing in some games. They probably did away with it because of how obtuse of a control scheme it could lead to. The flute puzzle in Star Ocean 3 was an absolute nightmare. Raisin 17 hours ago. In fact, Sony had pressure-sensitive buttons on the Stu and 3 controllers. They removed this. I just want to run over the guy who stopped me. Since robots can't identify stop signs or traffic lights in capture images, maybe self-driving cars aren't such a good idea. 2Fox22 hours ago. Haha, like this one. A 24 reply share report save continue this thread or replies. I'm more curious about people who charge up to stop sign or traffic light intersections at apparently full speed and slam on the brakes with half the front of their car in the intersection and then look at the rest of traffic like they are surprised other people are on the road. I find a little joy when people race past me toward a red light as I gradually reduce my speed. Then, when the light turns green, I'm cruising right past them comfortably as they floor it from a dead stop. Chances are that they'll do everything they can to pass me again, but the same thing can happen over and over again passing through some towns. Either way, that sort of herky-jerky going just seems like a stressful way to drive. I always wonder how fast they burn through their brakes. My route has a terrible "if you miss one, you miss them all" design when following the speed limit. As a pedestrian, I loathe those people. It is like, gee, thanks for blocking the entire crosswalk because your dumbass can't be bothered to stop in time when you clearly saw it was a yellow or red light and you had nowhere to go. And then they, the driver, have the audacity to do that hands in the air oopsie gesture to pedestrians or turn their head to avoid our gaze and tell us we'll have to wait for the next light or go around their car. Fuck those people. Share the road space and don't block pedestrian crosswalks. There is a balance. I had some guy who probably thought he was being super safe by slowly coasting to the red light exiting the highway on the off-ramp. What he didn't realize, however, is that his slow deceleration had caused a dangerous bottleneck on the off-ramp because he was holding up traffic. I once saw a guy creep through the entire red light. At no point did he decide to just go. He just kept on creeping until he was on the other side. Did you hear cartoon xylophone sneaking sounds the whole time? So he basically passed the red light but slower. The traffic on that intersection must have been non-existent for him to pull that off without getting to bone or honked to oblivion. It's not illegal to run a red light if I don't actually run, lol. I have seen the same thing. It was wild. Late at night in a residential area, good visibility, so no huge risk of an accident. But surely once you decide to get out into the middle of the intersection, it would be much safer to just go. That was probably Draxiv mastered the ability of creeping so incredibly slow that I become invisible to the traffic camera. They apparently do this a lot in the countryside of Nebraska. In Naples, I took a taxi at 5 a.m. and the driver took all the red lights without any problems. I was shocked because the person in front of me did it. It is like yawning. I purposefully don't creep up like that, so that one person can look back and feel stupid. If it doesn't help the traffic situation, I'm not moving. Yeah, but the guy in front of you is an energy vampire. This is the answer. Sometimes if I'm bored, I'll keep creeping forward a couple of inches just to see if the car behind me does. It never fails. Like, I don't do it when they creep forward a few feet, but when there's like an awkward almost two-car gap between me and the car in front of me from them slowly creeping closer to the crosswalk. It's hard to resist the urge to follow them. Feature not dinosaurs 18 hours ago because the person in back of me did it for 3. Reply share report save continue this thread nor replies. I inch forward trying to adjust my foot when I press the brake at an awkward place, like near the edge. Yup, gotta let off the brakes a little to adjust the knee angle sometimes or it is gonna be hurting the whole time I'm at the light. For a second I was really confused because I forgot automatics exist. I see. Here are some other alternatives you may consider as well. Putting the car in neutral and engaging the parking brake, using the left foot temporarily if auto, putting the car in park if auto, using the auto hold functionality of your car if equipped, disabling the artificial creep functionality hybrid or electric vehicle. I don't want awkward eye contact with drivers next to me. I imagine this is how introvert drag races get started. Maybe I'm weird, but I don't ever look at the driver next to me when I'm at a stoplight. They can look at me all day and I wouldn't realize it. Roll the window down and ask if you can just awkwardly stare at each other. They will never look again. They will never look. So, look forward. Look forward. I literally look at people and see them creep up after all the time lol. I absolutely cannot pull up exactly next to somebody, scrolling to figure out what my answer is. This is my answer. Sicalica Cichisi 13 hours ago. Don't know what's worse. The dudes picking the urinal right next to yours when all other 16 are unused, or people pulling up with their window exactly aligned to yours. 4.8 reply share report save. Child sleeping in car. Must not stop motion. This is the most legit reason in this whole comment section. Yup. I have a 2-month-old that will scream her face off if I'm stopped for more than a few seconds. I've been chill about speeders and reckless drivers ever since I realized that some of those people, maybe even just one, might really need to get somewhere as quickly as they possibly can. I used to actively try to block them from pulling whatever dick move they were leaning toward. Now I just get out of the way. Thanks to you, I finally have a reason to not look at people who creep up at stoplights like they've just shit their pants standing up. They might have a little motion-hungry nugget strapped in that car. Thanks. Edit. I just want to clarify that I never tried to stop people from driving lawfully. My city is notorious for shitty drivers, and my usual move was to simply merge over when I saw someone gaining up at twice the posted speed limit. Also, if someone is signaling at you, get the fuck out of their way. I've been in queues to drive through and found myself having to reverse and go forward continuously. Came here to say this. I really don't care about this one. Safe stopping distance should mean even more to you with a kid in the car. And then when the light turns green, they just sit there. When you were a few cars back in a turn lane and they take their sweet fucking time, then you miss the light. Every time. Of course they need to finish that text. Colored mirror ball 14 hours ago. Haha, that's me. I'm very insecure in a car, so I practice releasing the clutch while red, occasionally inching forward. Then when the light actually turns green, I stall 6 reply, share, report, save, continue this thread or replies. Sometimes looking for an angle at which I can see the signal on the corresponding lights to anticipate when I'll need to get into gear. Yes, my friend has a stick shift, and I did realize how much time and energy there is driving it in a city. How long does it take you to get into gear that you need to do this? Are you trying to get off the line in a street race or something? I drive a stick, and it is funny how a lot of the time I can get off the line and going well before the other cars. Funny how a lot of the before the I drove a manual for years in the up and never felt the need to do this. Sure, 16 hours ago, you put it in neutral rather than downshifting as you slow 3 him reply, share, report 7 or replies. I'd be interested in people who drive normal-sized vehicles but will still swing out in the right lane to make a left-hand turn like they are driving a semi. I've gotten into an accident because of someone doing this. It was also my fault as well. They didn't have a left turn signal on, and they looked like they were slowing to park on the right. It was a residential area where street parking is common. Assuming that was the case, I thought I would just carefully pass so I could make the light ahead. No, they swung right into me. Fortunately, I was already going slow, so only a minor dent for both of us. The kicker was that the apron of the lot they were pulling into was as wide as fucking Texas. Absolutely no reason to swing out if you were in anything but a semi. Use your fucking turn signals, people. I hate that. Even more baffling are the people in normal cars, not lowered or anything, making right turns that are so slow and dramatic that you'd think they were nominated for an Oscar. Like, slow down before you turn, sure, but you don't need to swing left and slow down to a crawl to turn a gentle right. 100 convinced that is all just laziness and not paying attention. People too lazy to keep their foot on the brake enough to not move, too lazy to actually fully turn a steering wheel, too lazy to use their turn signal. I'm just convinced that 50 of drivers want to move as little as possible so they don't fully brake, accelerate, turn their heads, or do anything that isn't half-assed, and not paying attention to anything around them or even what they were doing themselves. Go 12 hours ago, shit drivers not knowing how big their car is and think they were gonna hit what's to the left off them. 3 him reply, share, report, save. Just playing the guessing game with myself, really. End. Green. 4, 3, 2, 1. Green. You can tell when it is going to change by looking at the lights for the currently moving traffic. Oh my fuck, I thought I was the only one that did this. I use action commands. Eventually it works. Green. Activate. Go. It worked. Anonymous Kosataki 16 hours ago. This one is also true. The worst is when someone creeps forward at a red light, but when the light actually turns green they don't move. Dimension B16 nors you every time. They go so far forward they can't see the bloody light turn green. 43 reply, share, report, save or replies. Some stoplights have a camera sensor or an in-road sensor to detect if there is a car. By creeping forward, the hope is that you activate the sensor, which will trigger the light to change. I have a couple of tunnel traffic lights which use magnetic fields. I'm a cyclist with a steel-framed bike, and if I keep my bike upright I have to wait for a car to come along and trigger the sensor. If the sensor doesn't trigger, it means there's a car in the tunnel coming my way. I figured out that I can trigger the traffic light by stepping off my bike, lying it down on its side across the sensor, and then getting back on the bike. It works all the time, but it does make me look a little strange to pedestrians. I thought this was the logical answer. Instead, I had to come all the way down here to find it. I worked with traffic engineers and learned that the sensors are triggered as soon as you stop at the light. Continuing to move will not retrigger the sensor. Also, most signals in larger cities are on a timer during peak hours to ensure continuity of traffic. E.g. lets you hit all the greens during rush hour, so moving more will do absolutely nothing. You just have to wait it out. Only for the first car in line. Most people I see doing this aren't even in pole position. Those in ground loops and camera detection zones go from 4th past the stop line to about 16th behind the stop line. Unfortunately, creeping isn't gonna do anything. Some people creep 4th past the line and the signal doesn't realize they are there anymore. Those in ground sensors actually detect the metal in your car. Sometimes, motorcycles that are mostly plastic have a hard time triggering them. The question I have is why some people stop 30 feet before the next stopped car. Please, for the love of God, pull forward so I can get in the left-hand turn lane. Edit. You all are giving too much credit to some of these distracted texting driver fools. Always nice to see Reddit giving strangers the benefit of the doubt, though. There are driving classes out there that do teach and recommend leaving one vehicle length between vehicles at stoplights. But like most of the super safe driving techniques, it is seen as crazy and rude by other drivers. Best to practice those techniques on bad weather days, when the spacing and such is truly needed. I grew up working in the inner city for housing remodeling back in high school. The longer I sit there, the more traffic is piling up behind me. And I am thinking of the person 12 cars back that would be able to make that right turn into the parking lot if only every car in front of him would close the spaces up a bit. Just pull up all the way to begin with then. The closer cars are at a red light, the slower the whole line takes to get back up to speed. You mean well, but your actions have the reverse effect and you slow traffic down way more. You will find many simulation videos online to prove this point. Edit. Here. Go try for yourself. Although not sure you can test this idea of cramming cars in between lights is a good idea. Although go try. Although, sure you for use you. Her voice canopenist 17 hours ago still doesn't make sense. Pull all the way up in the first place and nobody has to play this game if a coordinate, reply, share, report, save, continue this thread. For me, it is usually that's the guy behind me is almost on my bumper. I'll inch forward to make some space, and they'll inch forward. I'll do it again, and they do it again, and everyone behind them follows. It's partly an involuntary reaction. For most people, driving has become a somewhat automated task. Car in front of you moving causes the learned response of moving forward yourself. I guarantee you've done it behind someone else too, even without thinking about it. I've done it, then realize after I've already done it that it was stupid and I shouldn't have. MacLeod 15 hours ago, so it literally accomplishes nothing. 13 replay, share, report, 7 or replies. I drive manual transmission. If you were top at the lights, you can usually see when the other light is turning red, signaling that yours is about to turn green. Especially if it is a junction you're very familiar with. You were just getting the car to the bite point, ready to go. You still check in both directions before proceeding, just in case someone breaks the red light. Wait, are you saying you drive manual and you do creep? For me, it is completely the opposite. I stop where I need to stop and then wait for the light to change. The stop 20 feet back from where you need to be and then creep up randomly. People piss me off because I either need to get in gear and pull forward or leave a huge gap in front of me. I can't believe I had to scroll down here to get an answer. Literally everyone does this in Europe, where a manual is normal. $3,205, 11 hours if good point. But that's not really the topic at hand, I feel. This is more like people who creep forward when literally nothing is happening. Bonus points for stopping 2 car lengths. Behing. Sit there for a second, then creep forward a foot for no reason. Rinse, repeat until they get to where they should have been the first time, and then the light turns green. I drive a manual too, and I basically refuse to creep forward in response to the creepers around because I'm that lazy, and I'm also paying attention. And then I'm the one that ends up with 3 car lengths in front of them. 44. Reply, share, report, save.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.